Today I'm going to show you my most prized collection, and no, we are not talking about gold or diamonds or bags or shoes. There's something else that's even more precious to me, and that is my cookware. Every single day I get DMs asking how do I look after my cast iron pot? What is that rasam pot made of? What is that blue pot? How do I get lines in my sandwiches? So I thought I'll address all of this by showing you guys my cookware collection, what I cook in them and how do I maintain them so it lasts for years. I've collected them over a period of time. So it's not like one big bang, I went to a shop and got all of them. I've collected them over years and years, and some of them are on the pricier side. But I love it and I feel it adds value to my way of living. Grab a coffee and we'll start off with cast iron. We'll start off with this one. You have seen this a lot. This is the tempering pan I use, tadka pan. This is for eggs. I've got 3 kadais, different size. I use them to make vegetables, curries, anything like that. This one doubles up as my Dutch oven. I also bake sourdough in this. This one came with a lid. So it helps for baking that sourdough because you need to close it with a lid for at least half the time. This lid on its own I use for sometimes just frying bread or fries or anything like that. All of these can also go in the oven. I only use these 2 in the oven for the most part, and that one, but we'll get to that. These are my dosa and chapati pans. This one is from the brand called Chaucer. This is the one I use for sandwiches. That's how I get the lines. It has that lines on both of the, it has the lines on the lid as well as the pan itself. It's very, very heavy. I have this big skillet. I use this for making large quantities of shakshuka or tawa pulao or searing meat or anything like that. This also goes to oven from time to time. So out of everything I've got here, I put this one and these 2 in the oven the most, but all of them can go in the oven. So that's my cast iron collection. Now how do I look after them? After you finish cooking, when the pan is warm, you just rinse it with warm water. If there are like stubborn food particles, you may want to slightly scrub it off. Don't use harsh chemicals, something really light, and just scrub it off. I avoid using metal scrubs. I just use like the sponge kind of thing. The point is, when it's warm, you flush it with water and let the food particles out. If there are stubborn food particles, slightly scrub it off with a sponge, pat dry immediately. Put it in low flame so the moisture gets out as well. So you can either pat dry properly. If you feel there's still a bit more moisture left in it, put it in the stove for low flame and make sure the moisture is out. Once all of that is done and it's super dry, apply a little bit of oil. That way it stays glossy, rust free, and it can last forever. Super simple. Takes a little bit of work though. The next set we are looking at is the enamel pots. They are made of cast iron, but it is coated with tough porcelain enamel such that food never enters or sees the cast iron part of it. This can also go in the oven and straight from the oven to the table. So that's the beauty of these pots. You don't need a separate serveware with this kind of pots. So this one is for biryani and lamb curry. This one I've used to make shakshuka, noodles, pasta, tawa pulao and the likes. It's flat bottom and it's about 30 centimeters or I don't know, yeah, about that I think. And this one is for rice. Now in terms of care instructions, you need to look after them a little bit. So after cooking, let it cool a bit. Once it's cold, you can soak it in warm water with a pinch of baking soda and then clean it off using a nylon brush. The only drawback with this pot is it can chip. And once it chips, I don't know if it's usable or not. I've had coffee cup chip a bit and it just looks so odd. So that's the only drawback. You need to be very, very careful in how you handle them. The other thing that you need to be mindful of is to not use like metal utensils while cooking in this pot. So avoid using like your metal spatulas or spoons or anything like that. Try and use silicone or wooden ones. So there's that. The next one I have is Chumbu. This is made of almost pure tin and it can melt at 230 degrees Celsius. You can see me making rasam in this pot. I've also heard people saying that you can make more kolumbu, which is yogurt based curry, in this pot, or you can also boil milk in this pot. Cooking rasam in this pot gives that subtle flavor. All the guests that come to our home and have rasam always like our rasam, and I think that's because we cook rasam in this pot. Now, because it melts at 230 degrees Celsius, you need to be very careful when you're cooking in this pot. Don't put the pot on its own on the flame. Always fill it with at least 50% of it with liquid, in this case rasam or more kolumbu, whatever. Fill it with something and then put it on the stove, and again on a very low flame. Stand next to the stove. You want to make sure that there is not a lot of heat going into the pot. If for whatever reason it gets heated, it may leave a hole at the bottom, and that means your pot is gone. Now, in some cases when there is a lot of heat but not enough to make a hole, but still a lot of heat, it can leave dents. In those cases, I have heard that you can send the pot for re-tinning. Okay. Now, in terms of clean instructions, nothing fancy, just use a gentle soap to clean it once the pot is cold. Okay, the next one we have is this earthen pot. This is made of red earthen clay fired at low temperature. There's no glaze at all. I use this to make chicken kolumbu or fish kolumbu, and it adds that earthy flavor to the food. The first time you use it, you need to soak it for 6 to 8 hours and then rub it using rice flour paste and sun dry it. This is just for the first time usage. For day-to-day cleaning, once it cools down, clean it with a coconut brush or a normal brush. Don't use detergent and dry it upside down like this. The next we have is brass and bronze. Let's talk about this brass pot first. Brass is made of an alloy of copper and zinc. It's about 60 to 70% copper. I use this to boil milk or make payasam or some sort of sweets. Never use this to make acidic things or even tomato based gravies. The clean instructions are very simple. Just wash it with a soapy water and pat dry. Never leave it too long for it to air dry. If you leave the water for long, it may have the spots and it may not look good. If the spot dulls, you can always clean it using pitambari powder, or if you want to take a natural route, always use lime juice and salt, or vinegar and baking soda, or vinegar and salt, one of those combinations. Same thing with bronze. This is made of copper and tin. This is antimicrobial in nature, and they say this is heirloom tough. These bronze or kansa pots are heavier. You can cook things like pongal or sambar or dal that needs even amount of heat in these pots. The care nature is similar to that of brass. You can soak it in a soapy water, just wash it gently and pat dry immediately. If the shine dulls over time, just polish it using pitambari powder or lime juice and salt, lime juice and baking soda, vinegar and baking soda, one of that. A few noteworthy mentions. I use acacia chopping board. I do all my chopping in this board. We polish it either once or twice a week to keep it shiny and nice. This is a teak wood utensil set. I like it. This also gets a polish every once or twice a week. This is a coffee davara set. I don't have a pittalai or a brass set just yet. We got this from some shop in Salem. In fact, my in-laws got it for us. Other than these, I have lots and lots of stainless steel pots, saucepans and cookers. I'm sure most of you use stainless steel. That's why I didn't talk about it here. This is a lineup of all the pots and pans I have and how I keep them happy. I've also made a care sheet for this. That way you can download it and print it and put it on your fridge, and you don't have to wonder if soap or no soap for a certain metal. If there is a category of vessel that I missed, let me know in the comments below. If you have a disaster story or more care tips, also let me know in the comments below. I love to read all the comments and learn a thing or two from there. Thank you for hanging out in my kitchen. I'll see you in another video. Bye.